right, we're live.
Cool. Well, it seems like there's just 3 questions this time. I actually didn't have much time to go through them like I mentioned right now, Cameron.
Yeah, there's vote individually, and then there's like 2 questions to answer, and then there's a vote pretty much like thing. But that's it. So the first one, I guess, is what grade would you give the founders of Runway for their work in starting RTR? What specifically did you see as most effective? Where did the founders stumble? What should they have done differently? Does the order in which they took specific actions matter?
Where are those questions? I'm seeing 3 others.
Those ones are under the Rent the Runway case discussion.
Okay. I'm under.
The preface on it has 3 other questions, but it's kind of like to prepare you for the actual case discussion, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm under lesson 2 prep.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So I guess those are, when it says like the prep, I guess that's questions we ask individually to kind of prepare us for.
Oh, really?
The Runway case discussion.
Okay, so it's under rent the runway case discussion?
Yeah.
Let me see. And my internet. We have to start with a prayer, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I saw that now. So we have to start with a prayer. Then someone has to share a thought about something of spiritual nature. Then we're going to vote individually about what you're talking about, what grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess question 4 and so on. So I guess I could say the prayer.
Okay.
Okay, mind?
Nope.
Okay. Father in heaven, we are grateful this Sunday for being able to get together as a group, being able to discuss this case. We're grateful for the time that was given us and the abilities to be able to solve and analyze, for the opportunity we have to further in our education. We ask you to bless us with thy spirit, that we may continue to learn, to continue to grow, and be able to apply the things that we learn daily and in the rest of our professional careers. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Anyone would like to share a thought? Maybe something they learned at church?
Does it have to be about the case?
I don't think so. You think it does?
I don't know. To share their thoughts about something of a spiritual nature. I guess not.
I guess if you have a link to the case, I guess that would even be better. But I don't think it would have to be specifically
for the case.
So just whatever. You want to take that one, Miguel?
About the spiritual nature.
Mm-hmm. Just anything.
Well, I was remembering in the case that it says that both these girls, I forgot their names. Well, Heman and Jennifer, that they were really passionate for this idea, and they tried to take advantage of their knowledge or their lack of knowledge also, because also they didn't know more about this market or about this product. They were able to came up with this idea, and furthermore they were able to gather a great team. So I think that I could apply this to the importance to surround us with good people that could help us to take better decisions, and also that could help us in different situations that could well, that sometimes, for example, in the school when we have some exercise or with some classes, are uh, when we have a good team, it's when we can succeed because all the team can contribute to the problem, or we can have this help. So I could link this experience from the case to this to this concept. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's good, yeah. Kind of like link it, because you're pretty much saying that like you be around people that are going to lift you up and basically make you a better person, which
Yeah,
it's always a
exactly.
good thing to strive for, is to be around those and even evade, or not I guess evade, but not make yourself part of a group to where they're going to lower your standards or lower what you believe, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's great. Great explanation.
Okay. So we need a vote. It says, what grade would you give the founders of the Runway for their work in starting RTR? What specifically did you see as most effective? So should we grade it 1 to 10, or is there a specific grading?
Like A to F.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
I don't know.
We can do 1 to 10.
Sure, if you want to.
10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Okay. In that case, I'd give them probably either an 8, 8.5 for their work in starting RTR. Mostly because in starting it, they had a good concept and everything, and one of the owners, Hyman, she went out and found Fiesta, or however you say her name, to pretty much basically be kind of like her stern of the boat. She was the idea, and she had everything. She knew what she needed to do, but she needed someone there to make like financial analysis of whether or not this would pan out, whether this is a good idea or not. And then they actually went and started talking to fashion designers. So they kind of hit the ground running and just went with their idea before actually putting any capital into it to kind of see if it would work or if it would be a good investment at all. So I think they did a really good job starting off.
I agree. I think I would give him a 9. Like, it was not perfect. I mean, it seems like it would be a hard industry to to get into. Like, specifically, I just see designers and all that fashion people being kind of like stuck up and like not wanting to talk to you, not open up. And then 2 girls coming up and just trying to be like, hey, we're trying to build a business here. Can we do this and this with you? I know that takes courage and desire. I think they put in some good work into that. Of course, there were specific things that they perhaps didn't do as good as they should have. Some people, when they got referrals, when they were doing their website, stuff like that, that kind of made them lose time and money. I mean, they didn't know anything about fashion. They didn't know anything about design, which it mentioned sometimes a good thing. And I've heard this before, like when they say that when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's better to start a business where you don't know anything because you come in with a bias, and you have to force yourself to learn and to become the expert. So you start from zero and you can have a different perspective, which I thought that was good. And then they were kind of just doing like a trial and error thing, you know. They should have, I don't really know how you could do that, but perhaps get someone that actually knew about the industry to get them to move a bit faster. I don't know. That's probably why I would give them a 9. Otherwise, I thought they did a good job. Really good job.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I will give them an 8 or 9 because, as you mentioned, I think that also they didn't have enough experience. They were able to gather a great team. So I think that that was the most valuable, and not any given people or any given persons. They were able to gather uh, huge personalities of this market or of this field that have a lot of experience. One of them that had I have been working for a website for weddings or something like that. So I think that these kind of acquisitions were very valuable in order to build or design all the business. So I think that for me the most valuable was that they could meet, or that they could make that these persons could people could join to their business idea.
I agree. I just had a question there. Like, I read they put this team together from different experienced people in the market and stuff, but the case didn't really mention much about them after.
Right.
Like, it pretty much mentioned that these 2 girls took roles in the company, and they were working, like everyone was putting in their part, working as a team. If they saw something missing, they would have to go in and work that too and stuff like that, right? It's a 8-person team, but then it also mentioned there were like 8 different high-end people working as board members, but it never really mentioned anything about what they thought or if they helped out with any advice. So that kind of is part of my, I know, I guess in the essay or whatever we have to write in the summary, some of the things you would like to still know about, right? What the investors thought about what they were doing, what the board thought about it, because
Yeah.
it was only 2 months, but it didn't mention much about their help or whatever. It just mentioned they had good support, but that's about it.
Right. And like if the board kind of had any sway or decision in what they were planning on doing, whether growing their inventory or just sticking with what they were going to be doing and focusing on just pretty much building the company first. If any of the board members had a decision that they were to think was a good idea, that they would bring it to them or something. Yeah, I didn't mention any of that, so. I guess we want to go through and answer all these like little questions inside the main question.
Well, I think we kind of just summarized. We kind of said what was most effective. Did they stumble? Yeah, they stumbled hiring some people when they were building their website, or they went to that those programmers in Canada. That was like $45,000 lost.
Yeah.
What should have they done differently? They should have asked for help.
Yeah, and I think they could have outsourced the website to like a student or something of like a technical, like a IT college or something like that? Because there's a lot of colleges that look for that. For instance, like BYU actually will have some of their IT students work on companies' websites or back-end programs, things like that, just to have an experience of it before they actually graduate. So I'm sure they could have found something like that to help them and even, I guess, paid the school or done something, mentioned the school in ads or something like that. Another thing I feel like they did really well was they changed their way of getting information. Like first they went to all these fashion designers and they're like, hey, this is our idea, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, not going to happen. And then they changed their way of talking. They said, okay, what's kind of like the holdback? What do you guys have issues with? What would you like to see different in this kind of industry? And then they started getting more and more information about, okay, this is where we really need to move the company to doing something like this, or this is how we're going to do it. So I think that was good of them. But yeah.
Yeah, those make sense. So there's another question there that says, does the order in which they took specific actions matter? I think it does. I mean, they could have done some tests before they went to the designers, and that way maybe showed with numbers and percentages, hey, we ran 3 tests, these many people came back, or these many people rented, these many people came back and rented, these many people got referred. And then I guess once you see numbers, then I'm pretty sure the fashion people would be like, whoa, we didn't know this market really was out there renting. And then they would probably see it in a different perspective, right? They see numbers, they see a return on the investment. They see, well, this kind of makes sense now. Before they kind of just went without anything in their hands, just a plan, just an idea. Of course, ideas, there's a lot of ideas, but you got to prove a concept first.
Yeah, that's true. It makes sense to kind of take, because if they would have done that first, they probably would have, like you're saying, gotten more positive response from a lot of the designers and everything. And I don't know, maybe it was a good thing that they did it in I guess, in different order or wrong order. Because it kind of led them to, okay, well, if we buy the dresses, yeah, it's pockets, more capital, but it then gives us more control over the inventory and how we can get it out, and pretty much revenue later on and things like that. So I think it probably would have been smarter to first get an understanding of the market. But I think what they did also kind of helped them out in an unknowing way.
Yeah. Well, it was a new idea. They had to figure out what was working best. And I mean, it worked out at the end, but perhaps switching those up a little might have made it quicker, better. But.
Yeah.
So the other question is, have the founders of RTR validated their business model? So supposedly it's been, what, 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
And the question pretty much is it validated? Should they move forward? It actually asks here, what is a business model? Be specific. It says the reading highlights 4 components of a business model: CVP, GTM. Was there a reading?
It was. I missed it.
Yeah, I don't think I read this.
Because I looked for those inside of the case study.
Was it?
Really?
I didn't see anything with those.
Well, I don't remember those. But what do you guys think? You think it was validated with just 2 months?
I don't think so. I think they definitely proved that there's a type of market for it, but I don't think they validated, basically proved that, yeah, this is going to work. These numbers show proof. This is pretty much going to grow, all that kind of stuff that I guess a business model would show how it's correlating with the key customers, how you're going to be doing the shipping, how it's going to be, what key investors you have, what are the revenue, what are the costs, things like that. And I don't think in 2 months, they might have had an idea of what it was like, of what all those would have been, but I don't think they had a firm idea or firm concept of, okay, these are our margins, this is what we need to do, this is what has to be done, these are our key signatures of what actually needs to happen in order to be a profitable business. I don't think they had that yet.
What do you think, Miguel?
I was
Actually
trying
asked.
to find the
Go for
part
it.
in which he says that they focus in all the country, right?
Mhm.
So
They
I
don't,
think that it
do they?
I understood that they start distributing, or well, they were accepting requests or several orders from different parts of the country. So,
I
well,
think they
for
wanted.
me, at this point, yeah, sorry.
I think they wanted it to be nationwide, and a lot of their demos for the website showed pretty much like if you're in New York City, we can do like free shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Whether or not they reached all the states of the
Same
nation,
day.
I don't know. Yeah, or same day delivery. Yeah, whether or not they got into all the different states, I'm not sure. Where they got that much traction or yet not, I don't think they got into all of them. But I'm sure they were looking to be a nationwide delivery service for their rent address.
Yes, exactly. And I think that maybe during this short period, they think, well, I think that they should have focused on a specific market, for example, just New York City or several events in order to have a better control of the order, because I think that if they start just accepting orders from nationwide, this percentage or the result that we got could be biased because there are not a real sample of the real market that will be requesting or ordering different dresses in different seasons. So I think that maybe they should like starting by segmenting their country or focusing in different cities or something like that.
That's true. Like the question here also asks, how do you know if it's validated?
Mm-hmm.
Numbers wise, um, it made sense, right? If you say it takes them 3 rentals to pay for the dress, and they had 50,000
Orders.
people
Well,
already
in the wait list,
reserving
I think.
in the
Yeah.
wait list, and they have what, under 5,000 dresses.
Yeah,
So that means each dress at least what, 10 times, which is what,
yeah.
5,000 times 10, 50.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're doing 3 times over. I guess just kind of quickly thinking about that. You could say the business model is validated, right? But then the other thing that I'm thinking about right now is that they launched like the November, so it was like November,
2009.
December, so it's holiday
Yeah,
season, and they talked
Right.
exactly.
about how most of it was New Year's Eve, right? Then comes January. What's going on in January? Nothing. So they really haven't, I think, validated. Like that was a really good month to launch. End of the year, Christmas parties, New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
But
graduation.
it would be interesting to see if there was like a dip after December, right? After January, because of that huge end of the year event.
Yeah, because they wanted to get at that current time that they had the huge wait list, they had to basically boost their dress inventory up to 5,000. So pretty much like does it validate that they bought that many dresses just for that boost? Because like you're saying, like just in December, yeah, maybe a lot of people wanted it, but then let's say January through June, they barely get any dress orders, or they maybe get like a third of what they originally got in December, kind of thing. That would put a pretty big cost on them rather than an actual revenue.
Yeah, I mean, like for a lot of businesses, there's seasons like tourism, right? Summer, spring break, Christmas break. Like hotels have seasons and they price their rooms
Mm-hmm.
according to that. So, I mean, that takes, you have to have a whole year to kind of speculate and see, okay, we have perhaps end of the year is going to be high season for us, but then it kind of goes down. And then summer or spring break comes and it goes up again. I don't know, there's specific seasons. And I think they should to be able to validate the concept, they should probably go for a longer period just to kind of see how it kind of fluctuates during the year, right? Because if they buy a bunch of dresses and then February comes and they have zero or just a few rentals, then they're going to be in trouble.
Right.
With all just the inventory sitting right there, they could have a hard time. So I think they need to carry that on for a little longer and just see how a couple of more months go during the year, different seasons in the year.
Yeah, that's true.
Any other viewpoints you guys have?
No, I mean that pretty much covered it.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So it says, how many times does a dress need to be rented in order to break even? How many times has an average dress being rented during the first 2 months of operation? What do these results imply about the viability of the business? In other words, are these promising results or concerning? We kind of just talked about it, right? But I don't know, Cameron, if you can, Miguel wasn't here, I think, when you kind of figured out the break even.
Yeah, I did. So I'll show you the Excel spreadsheet I did. It's nothing fancy. So pretty much, let me pull this over a little bit so it's better. So all I did was I took what the information was saying on one of the exhibits of the cost of the dress for Rent the Runway, the rental price they normally have for that cost, and then the variable cost, which was like the shipping, the dry cleaning, things like that. And I used a formula of fixed cost divided by the price per unit minus the variable cost. So the price per unit is $90 is what they're renting it for. So I took the 226 divided by the $90, divided by $90 minus the 31 for variable cost. And so the break-even point was technically 3.83. So I guess if you wanted to round it, because you're not going to rent 3.8 of a dress, I guess you'll rent 4 dresses or dress 4 times. But considering that in the reading it said that their average was about 2 times a dress in the 2 months that they were operating, unless I'm mistaken, I read it wrong. But that's what I saw. And so looking at it, really, they're kind of like half profits away from being profitable or even breaking even.
Okay. That makes sense. We just, I guess, kind of discussed how they had 50,000 people kind of waiting, right? How would that fit into that?
So I saw that it says that the waiting list reached 50,000 by mid-January as dresses inventory grew to 1,000 units. And holiday demand had subsided. The team had reduced the list to 5,000 names in a 1 week time. 2,000 orders. So I guess in order for them to be profitable on all the dresses, it'd have to be continual. But maybe in that one holiday period when it boosted, maybe they made enough profit on that one time that I covered them for the year. And maybe that's kind of where they make their profit is in the big events like New Year's or things like that.
That could be.
But before that, I was saying something like the average was only like 2 times.
So I think it mentioned that I guess 12.5% of their customers were return customers. They rented again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that kind of gives you an idea if there was 50,000.
Well, they said by time after that they had reached more than 150,000 members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of those 150,000, it didn't really mention how many.
sales, right? Or well, rentals?
How many rentals?
Yeah, that's just how many. It says members. It doesn't say how many people rented. It's just saying, although the
Yeah.
site had already been live for just 2 months, already 12.5 customers had ordered more than once.
Did you calculate the effective cost as it mentioned the video, or well, as it says in the video?
The effective cost?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean?
There is a video that supposedly was going to help us to calculate this. It
Oh, really?
starts calculating this effective cost. But yeah, I think I got lost because well, in this example, he talks about the videos, or well, some rental for videos, like some movies or something like that. And he start calculating the number per rentals and then the average cost per rental. So then he came up with one effective cost. And then he keeps making some calculation in order to get the annual profit.
Huh.
Let me see if there is the link. Like this one. Let me see. I don't know if it should open. No, it's not working from here. But it is in the...
Did he send that video through email or was it in the island?
No, I think it's here. Let me see. First segment.
Oh, where it says rental business model
Yeah.
calculations?
Exactly. That's the one.
Hmm.
If you click, it's like the same from the drop case video. It's almost the similar, but it start talking about the effective cost and then
I haven't even seen
about
those videos.
revenue per rental and variable cost, contribution margin. Then we calculate the break-even point. But I got confused because you know that in the case we read that they sent 2 dresses in each order,
Right.
So I think that we should calculate it also with 2 because they are sending 2 of their dresses, so there are 2 dresses not available in the inventory. So, but I don't know. Do you have any other ideas?
I haven't seen that video. I'll watch it, I guess.
And
That kind of makes sense.
they send out pretty much what happens with that is they try them on. 'Cause the whole idea was that to get a dress that the customer basically felt like they fit in. And so they'd call in and talk to their, I can't remember what they call them, kind of like their
Insight specialist or whatever.
specialist, which pretty much would like help them with any kind of sizings or things like that. And pretty much they just send back the 2 dresses, but it'd only be the cost for the one. So even though, I don't know, maybe the variable cost applies to both those dresses to do the dry cleaning and shipping and stuff, or maybe the both dresses being shipped is what the variable cost covers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because for example, for the average cost, it says in the case that in average they cost between 35, between $35 to $75, plus a mandatory for insurance charge. So if you average all these, I came up with a 57 as average cost, including the insurance.
And then in their exhibit 4, they show revenue per rental is $90, with a variable cost per rental of $31. So that's what I'm saying is maybe their variable cost per rental includes the 2 shippings, or it includes the shipping of the 2 dresses, as well as the dry cleaning when they send them back.
Yeah,
Where it says it down there, it says on the note in the exhibit 4 at the bottom, it says revenue per rental includes charges for insurance and shipping. And then it says variable cost includes shipping, dry cleaning, credit card processing, and packaging. So I'm assuming it kind of includes it.
Yeah.
And then they would charge $25 if they wanted to rent the second one. So I'm not sure if that would, like, if they sent two and then they're like, hey, you know what, I want both of them. Or will they send the same dress but just in a different size?
Yeah, they'd send the
Oh,
same dress in a different size. And if they wanted, they could add, for $25, they could add another style or another
oh, I
dress.
see.
But that will be four, right?
Yeah, and then they'd send four out. But I think that's where
Wow.
they pull in still. That's what their variable cost is of 31
Yeah,
bucks. Is that this is pretty much what's it's gonna be costing us for shipping, dry cleaning, credit card processing, and packaging per basically
yeah, everything
dress that's rental or two dresses we're shipping out, I guess you can say.
for both.
Right. And if they add the $25 on it, then obviously that's another 31 that's added in. So
Yeah. So what do you guys think? I guess we need a vote. Should RTR seek this to scale quickly or address operational efficiencies?
I honestly think they need to first go off of operational efficiencies. Otherwise, if they scale, they might run into more than they can handle, and it might actually crumple the business rather than help the business. Because pretty much all they want to do is start getting to like makeups or jewelry, things like that, that pretty much would go alongside the dresses, but they still don't have a really good measure of what the business is capable of, where its downfalls are, where its bottlenecks are, things like that, because they've only been going for 2 months. So they can't really give a good estimate of, okay, annual profit, we should be making this, things like that. This is what we rent on average. They don't have that information yet. So I think they should just focus on making the company as efficient as possible. And then once they have enough data, about a year's or maybe even 8 months worth, then they can start looking into going and building the business more, putting in more product inventory.
What do you think, Miguel?
Well, I think that it seems very promising, this business, but I think that they should still keep focusing just in the dresses because we're at the end of the case that they were offering that they could add some accessories or some jewelry, but I think that they have still several programs for their processing system because they do it all manually. So I think that they should first invest in maybe add some. I wrote in my analysis QR codes that maybe could help them to or manage better each dress in order to know the location or if it is in use, something like that. And then after they could establish something better processing system, they could start offering more accessories or jewelry. I don't know, but before I think that they should start just investing in their own systems in order to make it better.
I agree. I think we all agree on the same. I think 2 months is too short of a period to
Mhm.
know if this is going to work. I'm thinking the fashion industry changes quite a bit.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
there's new trends every month, every year, every
every
season.
season.
So, and
Yeah,
then women, yeah, they see something new and they want to go get it, right?
yeah.
So I don't think 2 months is enough. They were having some issues like operational issues, the website issues. They had to invest heavily in those because they wanted to create more than just a business, right? They wanted to make this an experience for women. And they were trying to change the whole market of how they perceived fashion and how you bought fashion and how you wear fashion, whatever. Instead of spending thousands and thousands of dollars, people didn't weren't used to renting the dresses. So this was something really new. They were trying to disrupt. And with 2 months on the end of the year, holiday, New Year's, whatever, in a couple of cities, I'm thinking they were most of their customers were New York City,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which is full of events and is high end and fashion is huge there. But if they were to come to Utah, it would probably be something different, right? So I mean, I think they need to work to better themselves as a company, fix all those little details, kind of make them perfect, so everything's working, the wheels turning perfectly, to where everyone's getting what they need. They have enough inventory. They're taking care of all their people. Their website works good as well. The experience that they're trying to create is a good thing. And then from there, trying to go into Act 2, Act 3, because this is the base of their business. If they go into jewelry, if they go into pregnancy things, if they go into other types of apparel or whatever, I think they're gonna. You can't handle too many things at once, right? They're already having some trouble, or they're trying to keep up with demand with just dresses. So now trying to get something else, small of a team as they are, they're gonna have a really hard time, and they're gonna get some clients upset, and then that's not gonna be a good thing, because people talk to each other in the fashion industry, and maybe perhaps some designers are going to get mad and they're going to pull out, and then they can lose a lot of business and get a bad image, which they don't want in this case, right? Image to them is huge. It's fashion. So I would go with they have to work or address their operational efficiencies before they scale.
Great.
Yep.
And the other thing is, I don't know if the investors would be willing to invest that soon, right? They just gave him almost $2 million.
Yeah, 1 point.
Right.
And then are they going to ask for some more 2 months after? I don't know. Even though it said that that guy that was with them was kind of telling them to, we need to scale this faster, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. If they did scale it, let's just look at that possibility. If they did scale it and they brought on like jewelry or the maternity wear, whatever kind of a thing, maybe they could acquire more customers and open up their target market. But I don't think they have a good way of having everything working yet. They don't have it figured out. And so they'd run into a lot of issues with that, scaling it too quickly. And especially because they want to move into so many different things at once. It's not just like one little addition they want to add. It's multiple things they want to go into. And that's just too much to handle when you're a new business, especially of 2 months. So
Yeah.
I think our decision pretty much is the best one.
I agree.
Sweet.
I think that would be it. We all
Anything
agreed,
else?
so we don't have to convince each other, I think. And we just kind of persuaded each other why we thought like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else there.
I think we're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
So I saw the team spreadsheet. Well, I don't know if you want to stop recording.
Yeah.